Hey guys, what's up? I felt like it was time for another ghost story. Don't you agree, Zoe? I think so. I want to tell you about antique shopping. And you got to be careful with when you go antique shopping because you never know what you're going to bring home. And sometimes it's pretty awesome, but other times I don't know. So this one really is all about the big white antique house up in Helen, Georgia, or close to Helen, Georgia. And every time I go, I get some sort of interesting encounter. And it's really exciting because this place has been in business for, a whole long time. I mean, like just a tremendous amount of time. And every time I go and I bring somebody with me, something interesting happens. Don't be surprised if a cat actually, jumps up on the counter and scares you, because I think Miss Butters is desperate for attention today. So, and if I get up, it's because I got to let one of my babies back in because it's nice. So I let them outside. And, but anyway, back to the house. So every time I've gone, I've had an experience. And I've had things like my hair pulled. I've picked up EVPs of people saying, "Hey," like they're like a quarter mile down the road to, and that was when it was like back in February or March, and the tourist season was not big up in Helen. I don't particularly like going there when there are too many tourists, because I typically pick up on other people's energies as well. So when I'm in a crowd, it's really difficult for me to distinguish who's what, especially if I've kind of allowed my guard to come down a little bit. So if you don't understand that, I don't really know how to explain it. But it's interesting. My favorite stories are when those things are validated. And to me, that's when somebody else has the same experience that I have. And so like the EVP of the man screaming, "Hey," right after Sarah and I asked it a question, that was kind of cool. And then I told my mom, and I brought my mom up to the shop. She lives down in Florida. And she was like, "Well, let's go see what we can figure out." And I'm telling her, "Hey, there was this little girl." And right when we were talking about this little girl, sure enough, a toy car comes off the shelf and it lands perfectly, to the point where like the wheels and everything, it's set up perfectly. It didn't land on its side or on its, roof or anything, but it was just like perfectly just like that. Yes, Miss Butters. She wants lots of attention today. She always knows when I videotape, she has to be in it. So, but it was kind of neat because that car falling off the shelf, and then the EVP, and I asked the owners of the shop for some information, and they were very forthcoming, and they actually have pictures in their store of someone dressed in a white gown up in the attic. If you go inside the shop, it's you go up towards Helen, Georgia, and okay, whoa, cat fight. You go up towards Helen, Georgia, and on the left side of the road, you've got the Haversham Winery main house, and then you've got the White House Antique Shop. It used to be, I think, like a boarding house for when farmers would bring their corn and they would have it milled there. It's kind of the house is just really fascinating just to be in it anyway. I love old houses. I don't know. It's so incredible. And just antique shops to me are just like, I found this doll dresser behind me at an antique shop up in Dahlonega, and I'm going to redo it for my friend who has like a daughter who has American Girl dolls. And that's another thing that I like to do, is like refinish American Girl dolls, but I know I'm getting sidetracked. But antique shopping is really neat because a lot of times there are entities attached to different products and different things. So you really do have to kind of take note if you brought something into your house, and if it has a weird energy to it, you might want to get rid of it. personally, I think if I were a ghost, I don't know that I would really want to be attached to stuff. But like we know from the last video, yeah, they get kind of mad about that. But to me, it was really neat just having interactions with that little girl, and then that car being thrown at my mom and I's feet. So that was a lot of fun. There's another great place. I don't know if it's an antique shop. It used to be, oh gosh, it used to be called Jones and Company, and then it changed hands with a law firm. And then I think it's a gift shop now up in Dahlonega, which is another town up in the mountains. But when it was Jones and Company, my professor actually owned it, or rented the house, but owned Jones and Company. And it was really neat because he would always decorate for Christmas. And every year I would go up and look at all the Christmas ornaments. And every time you were in one of the rooms upstairs, you just felt like somebody was in the room with you. And so I had told my girlfriend Kate about this, and she was like, oh, let's go. And sure enough, Dr. Jones, he was and also an employee, so we were all working at Home Depot at the time. And it's like the 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon. It's like everybody who knows anybody in that area has worked for Home Depot, or the outlet mall. And so we were all employees at Home Depot, and I told Dr. Jones that every time I was there, I always had a feeling like I wasn't alone in the upstairs. And at the moment, he had the upstairs closed off. So he allowed us to go upstairs. And I said, oh my God, that's so awesome. And there's even a like little carving in the window, which I'll get to in a second. So when the house was originally built, it was apparently owned by another Dr. Jones, who was actually a medical physician. And his family lived in the house, and the house was also like his hospital/surgery. And you can see where the little kids actually came in, and it looks like they had scratched Jones into the window. And so I thought that was really neat and fascinating. So when our alive Dr. Jones, my Professor Jones, we'll call him Professor Jones, took us upstairs, he actually let us go up to the 3rd floor, which was kind of the attic. And all of a sudden, as we're walking up the stairs, I had to turn around and I had to like grab my friend Kate. And I said, I feel, I feel weird. I had this really pressure on my chest, but it wasn't like a scary kind of pressure. It was just like, hey, how's it going kind of thing. And I stopped and I told Dr. Jones, or Professor Jones, I said, he's okay with this. I said, I think he's trying to tell me it's okay. And so we opened up the door, and this was like one of the first times I've had like vision, where they kind of throw vision in your head, and that's what you see. Everybody else sees something completely different, but you see something that they want you to see. And I never really experienced that until this particular house. And so I was really taken aback when Professor Jones opened up the attic door, and all I saw was like this surgery, like this area where it almost looked like an autopsy could be performed. Like I saw something that looked like a big slab table and medical things set up on the counters. It was just, I had to step back, and I was like, oh my gosh. And as soon as I got out of the doorway, it went back to normal. It went back into an attic, and Kate and Professor were asking me, hey, what was that? What did you see? And I said, that's where he did most of his like autopsies and stuff. They would move the body up there away from the kids. And I don't know if there's anything credible to this, but that's what I saw. And so that was really, really fascinating. But I never felt threatened. And then to make things even more interesting, I'm telling my friends, this is another time we go to this same place after it changed hands from Jones and Company to like a lawyer's office to then I think it's a gift shop now if you were to go up on the square. How would I describe where it is? if you go on the square and you're coming from North Georgia, from, I don't know, I guess Highway 60. So you're coming up over, you pass the hospital, and then you pass the college on the left, and you keep going straight. You got to go all the way around the square, around the courthouse, and it's kind of off to the right. There's an Irish pub next door to it, and then there was normally a restaurant next to it, and then like an embroidery clothing shop next to that one. So it was like it's changed hands from like the embroidery shop or a barber shop all the way, you know. So, but it's on that front part of this of the strip. If you were able to go straight, which you can't because you have to go one way around the whole square, you can't just cut through. But if you were able to go straight, you could go straight and you could see the house. And it really is a house. I think it's, I don't remember what color it is. They may have painted it since I've been there. But so anyway, I was taking my friends up there on another time. And oh my gosh, it's 11 minutes. Okay. And it was interesting because I was telling them, yeah, every time I've come here, I've always had experiences. And I would talk to I was talking to the then shopkeep owners, and they were like, oh yeah, we have activity all the time. Well, sure enough, a display falls over, you know, not like something that would break or anything, but this like display just randomly falls over. There's no wind, there's nothing. And they were like, oh my gosh. And they were like, it knows you, it knows you. And I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know who that is. And they've had experiences with like children's laughter, which I kind of think is interesting. And then also with, you know, things upstairs moving around, like Dr. Jones is fixing it the way he wants it, because he is a very particular kind of guy and he likes things the way he likes things. So every time I'm in Dahlonega, I try to at least make one of those places. But it's really interesting. I think a lot of times if you just keep your eyes open, you'll see something. So, but anyway, I'll see you guys later. Y'all have a nice night.